and bom dia if you are in the Americas, and good afternoon or boa tarde if you are in Europe or Africa. Because we have an international audience, please download the Google app from the Google app or the Apple app for the translation. You can also find this at the bottom of the web page, the landing page. And we also look forward to your comments in the chat. Honorable ministers and representatives, colleagues, and friends bordering the Atlantic Ocean, welcome to the All-Atlantic Summit, which includes the sixth high-level industry, science, government dialogue for the Atlantic interactions and the thematic sessions on innovation and sustainable development for the blue economy. My name is Greg Jenkins. I'm a professor at Penn State and the director for the Alliance for Education, Science, Engineering, and Design with Africa. In 2018, we signed a formal agreement with the Air Center, and we've been close partners with them. Since then, we've also signed additional MOUs with some of the air partners in Angola, Cabo Verde, and Nigeria. Nearly 18 months ago, ASETA agreed to host the fifth high-level dialogue in Lagos, Nigeria. This is the sixth, at the fifth high-level dialogue, we agreed to host the sixth. We chose Philadelphia Navy Yard because of its historical connection to the blue economy and as an outlet to the Atlantic Ocean. So we denote this as the Philadelphia meeting, which you can see in my background. The coronavirus delayed our original meeting, but it did not dampen our energy or enthusiasm. I'm in Portugal with my friends and colleagues from the Air Center so that collectively we could bring you the very best. Unfortunately, Mayor Kinney of Philadelphia could not welcome us today. However, as a native of Philadelphia, I want to give you all a warm welcome from the city of brotherly love, home of the Declaration of Independence, the US Constitution, the Liberty Bell, Rocky Balboa, of course, singer Patti LaBelle, and saxophonist John Coltrane. As part of the blue economy, Philadelphia is home to the Port of Philadelphia and the US Navy Yard. And these have helped shape the blue economy in the Philadelphia area. The work that we do this week will also help shape the future blue economy all around the Atlantic, and will provide jobs, opportunities, research, discovery, and collaboration for multiple sectors and for future generations. So I welcome you with open arms in the future to the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and to Penn State University, and in the better days that lie ahead. Thank you for participating, and we will begin the welcome session with a message from the president of Penn State University, Dr. Eric Barron.
On behalf of Penn State, I want to welcome you to the All-Atlantic Summit. I extend special greetings to the government officials who are here with us today. They've joined us virtually from near and far, including international destinations of Angola and Cabo Verde and Portugal, as well as United States federal agencies, including NASA and NOAA. Given the challenges our world is facing, it is more important than ever for your work to carry on, and collaboration is crucial to the topic at hand. The Alliance for Education, Science, Engineering, and Design in Africa, ASETA, has partnered with the Air Center on this conference. This was an initiative that I started as Dean of Earth and Mineral Sciences in 2003, and I'm very pleased that Penn State is hosting this meeting. This has been a big year for us in terms of research. Our research expenditures exceeded the $1 billion mark in fiscal year 2019-20. The total figure, $1 billion and $1 million, places Penn State among a select group of research universities nationally and reflects the interdisciplinary strength built over 3 decades. It represents a $40 million increase over last year's number and includes a record $633 million in federal funding. This milestone reflects both the strength of the external support for the university's research activity and the broad impact of that activity on solving complex societal problems, from advancing health to addressing food security and sustainable energy solutions to contributing to economic development. Penn State's research enterprise is dedicated to improving the overall quality of life for people in our communities, our nation, and our world. And you are all a part of this effort. We're very proud of Penn State's strength in earth and mineral sciences, which is my academic home, as well as in engineering and computational sciences, biological research, and sustainability. Our work connects to the Sustainable Development Goals and its engagement internationally. I understand that you will be engaged in 5 new missions that will be launched to promote transatlantic collaboration using a multi-sector and multidisciplinary approach. Their focus will address essential needs, including clean and productive coasts, bays, and estuaries by promoting the sustainable development of major bay and estuarine areas, including the comparative assessment and action research in several locations. 2, resilience to coastal natural hazards by preventing, reducing, and increasing preparedness for response against coastal hazard exposure and vulnerability to natural or man-made disasters, such as floods, sea level rise, and extreme weather. It will also allow adaptation and mitigation of climate change effects. 3, sustainable food production by promoting new food value chains with sustainable fisheries and offshore aquaculture and reducing environmental risks and pressures for food security. 4, improved resource management of oceans, coasts, and marine systems through the sustainable development of ocean and coastal ecosystems, enhancing capacity for good governance of marine and coastal biodiversity, and raising awareness for local communities and decision makers on the economic value of the ecosystem and mechanisms for sustainable development. And 5, improved environmental and maritime monitoring by enabling the creation of impactful, affordable data collection and information systems that use a collaboratively developed nanosatellite constellation, marine robotics, and aerial autonomous systems. This will be coupled with Earth observation, numerical modeling, and artificial intelligence systems. The blue economy will be important in the short-term recovery from the COVID pandemic, but it will also promote the longer-term sustainable development goals and offsetting losses from a warmer planet. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the blue economy is important because it supports commerce, tourism, recreation, job creation, and contributes to the local economies for Philadelphia and Erie because of Lake Erie and the Delaware River. Penn State's research at the Philadelphia Navy Yard is part of the vibrant innovation linked to economic growth. On behalf of Penn State University, thank you for your participation in this summit and in the important work underway. I look forward to learning more about the collaborations and projects that result from this session. I hope you find it productive and inspiring. Enjoy your time together.
Thank you, President Barron. And next, we will have welcoming remarks from the Honorable Tom Wolf, who's the governor for the state of Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the 6th High-Level Industry Science Government Dialogue on Atlantic Interactions hosted by Penn State University. This All-Atlantic Summit on Innovation for Sustainable Marine Development in the Blue Economy will provide a key forum for dialogue and collaboration. This event brings together the stakeholders who drive growth and innovation in our world's diverse blue economy. The blue economy is a key part of Pennsylvania's business and industry employment opportunities in the ports of Philadelphia and Erie. They bring local jobs that help businesses thrive. The Delaware River is the gateway to the Atlantic Ocean and has driven the blue economy for many years. This year's summit will focus on a key issue: fostering global economic recovery in a post-pandemic world. The COVID-19 pandemic is both a public health and an economic crisis, and it has caused disruptions on a global scale. But if COVID-19 has shown us anything, it is that we are all stronger when we work together. Together, we can overcome this virus, and together, we can rebuild our economy. So I applaud you for your commitment to economic recovery that also reflects the importance of sustainability and resilience. I'm certain that the collaboration and innovation begun at this summit will benefit the global blue economy for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Wolf. And next, I will introduce Vaughan Turekian. He's the Executive Director for the Divisions of Policy and Global Affairs at the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine.
Professor Jenkins, thank you so much for that introduction. President Barron, Governor Wolf, Excellencies, and distinguished colleagues. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be able to join this conference, albeit for all of us remotely. I went earlier this year when this conference was planned, there was some great excitement to actually all visit and convene in the beautiful city of Philadelphia, just up the road actually from Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, as the world events have had, this is not possible, but technology has actually been able to overcome many things. And one of them is that we are able to meet virtually here today. 5 years ago, world leaders came together to address the three issues around people, planet, and prosperity, and advancing the needs to be able to think about a more sustainable future. The result in 2015 was that world leaders joined at the United Nations General Assembly to adopt the ambitious and global sustainable development goals, which covered many of the topics that we will be discussing over the next few weeks, a few days, particularly as it relates to an environment, an ocean, and an atmosphere that are not only healthier and cleaner, but more sustainable in the future. During that period of time in 2015, when the world leaders came together, it would seem almost inconceivable that within 5 years, there would be an event at such a massive scale that would actually limit the ability for the world to focus on sustainable development and instead focus on the survival of many hundreds of thousands of people because of COVID. Of course, we cannot separate out COVID from the implications for sustainable development. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure and the honor to help co-convene with my colleagues from the United Nations missions of Mexico and Israel, as well as the United Nations Secretary General's office, a conference on looking at the role of science, technology, and innovation in a post-COVID world. This was taking place in May, when the COVID crisis was early in its days. Now, 5 months later, we continue to see that COVID is having implications and impacts across multiple sectors, not only on the health sector, but critically, but also on the economy and on social well-being. Many of the issues around sustainability themselves have been put at risk, such as the education of children, because of COVID not allowing people to gather in schools. But science and innovation will be critical to the ideas around addressing the COVID crisis. We are already seeing an unprecedented mobilization of the science, engineering, and medical communities to be able to address some of the greatest challenges in not only developing therapies, but hopefully developing the vaccines that will provide some semblance of normalcy going forward. In the future, we can imagine that science and engineering will be critical to making sure that not only do we recover in the health realm from COVID, but the economy and innovation that needs to come with it to make the world actually more prosperous, one pillar of the Sustainable Development Goals. Oceans and the environment will be central to this. I have the great pleasure to be directing a division at the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine that has built into it a roundtable on science technology for sustainability. It brings together many of the groups that are here in this week to talk about issues around the private sector, the research community, and the public sector to think about ways to leverage and mobilize all the different parts of society to address sustainable development and sustainability writ large. I'll give one example of the things we're already thinking about in this effort. That as we are looking forward and rethinking, one of the things that was demonstrated to be at risk was around supply chains. So not only do we have to think further about what happens with resilient supply chains, but critically, what are the technologies that we can utilize to make them more sustainable into the future? There are many opportunities to leverage science and harness science, engineering, innovation, and even medicine to help us think through how to move back from COVID to be able to move forward with a better and more sustainable future that is actually more equitable and able to build in better and better opportunities for more people. But this is not without major challenges even going forward. The massive response from governments necessarily to be able to invest in the medicine and the biomedical enterprise, as well as the economic resilience that's needed and the need to put out a lot of capital funds for that, will make individual countries have some difficulty in looking long-term and investing government funds in long-term investments, such as certain areas of science. Ocean science is probably no different in this. So it will, as our earlier colleagues have mentioned, require even more in the field of cooperation. International cooperation around big science projects, particularly around monitoring the ocean and the environment, will become even more important as countries and nations try to deal with the economic fallout that comes with COVID and its aftermath. So I look forward to being and listening to many of the conversations going on here from a number of people that I've actually been able to and honored to work with for many years. I know that this discussion, again, would be always better in person, but I think what we are seeing is that the role of science and technology has actually allowed us to, even as we are far away, feel like we are right next door talking to each other. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the rest of the discussions.
Thank you, Vaughan. Next, we have some welcoming remarks from Reece Smyth. He's at the Department of State in the Office of Science and Technology Cooperation. Reece?
Thank you. President Barron, Governor Wolf, Dr. Turekian, ministers, distinguished guests, good morning. On behalf of the Department of State, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the All-Atlantic Summit. Although we are unable to meet in person in the great city of Philadelphia, the pandemic cannot stop this great collaboration of leaders from government, academia, industry, and the scientific and research communities from both sides of the Atlantic. The organizers at the Air Center and Penn State University deserve real credit for organizing this all-important event despite the unprecedented challenges posed by COVID-19. Indeed, our shared goal in overcoming the pandemic brought us here this week. By working together, we can harness the power of science, technology, and innovation to protect our health, safeguard the environment, and strengthen our communities and spur economic development. In my office, the Office of Science and Technology Cooperation, we work to advance security and prosperity through international cooperation on oceans, environment, science, space, and health. The Air Center is such a fine example of an international and multidisciplinary approach. We greatly appreciate your collaborative work that benefits our countries and communities. I would be remiss without specifically recognizing the effort of our partners in Portugal. The United States and Portugal have enjoyed a long and productive partnership on science and technology. From the ocean to space, the United States and Portugal work closely together, both bilaterally and through the European Union and organizations like the European Space Agency. Portugal is a dependable partner that has taken a leadership role in fostering cooperation across the Atlantic. We congratulate Portugal for its successful and generous contributions to the Atlantic Network and the Air Center. In the face of many challenges from around the globe, cooperation with our allies and partners across the Atlantic remains vitally important to the national security interests of the United States. In addition to our government agencies such as the National Science Foundation, NOAA, and NASA, our universities represent the best of American ingenuity and expertise. We are very proud of Penn State and other U.S. institutions for being a partner of the Air Center and the Atlantic Network. This year, the State Department was pleased to to pair Gage Kerr, a PhD candidate and atmospheric scientist at Johns Hopkins University, with the Air Center as a virtual air quality fellow. Gage is working with lab director Pedro Silva at the Air Center, and we look forward to seeing the results of this collaboration. As we are meeting virtually this week, this year's dialogue is unlike all others that came before, but the Air Center's objectives to foster job creation and sustainable economic development remain all important after the devastation brought about by the coronavirus pandemic. Your vision and expertise and commitment to cooperation will spur innovation to help recover swiftly from the pandemic. I look forward to following the results and impact of this dialogue. Thank you again for your participation and support for this all-important forum.
Thank you so much, Reece. That concludes the end of the first session.